we are gathered together, the three of us, Elena, Vorotko, Christopher Axworthy, and I'm Leslie Howard. We are the three artistic directors of the Keyboard Charitable Trust. The founders of the Keyboard Charitable Trust are sitting opposite me, and they are young John Leech, who recently clocked up 95 years on the planet. 96, I beg its pardon. And Noretta, we never talk about ladies' ages, but let's say that she's in the same decade as her husband. I think that will have to do.
Not much emphasis on the decade.
No, but it's...
Or decadent.
Don't you love that line in The Mikado, when Katasha asks, "Do you think I am sufficiently decayed?" And we're celebrating 30 years of the existence of this trust, which is a trust for helping young keyboard players, mostly pianists, but it's also been organists, harpsichordists, forte pianists, and so on. Anyone who plays a keyboard instrument. Thus far, we haven't actually done anything much for the free bass accordionists, I don't think. But the others, I think this trust has done a marvellous job and given a lot of people a platform which they would otherwise not have had, both in Britain and in many countries abroad. And it's grown from what was, well, a risky enterprise, really. It started with a concert in National Westminster Bank, I think it was, in 1991, that featured people who either were or were still pupils of Noretta, and I can't remember all their, let's see if I can do it. Nigel Allcote,
Ian
Munro, Victor San Giorgio. I'm trying. If they come to me, I'll spit them out. But anyway, I was one of the lucky people participating in this concert. And we had some distinguished guests. Alfred Brendel was certainly there, and we had people who have been friends of the trust from the beginning until today, like Gabriele Bassatne.
We had Claudio.
Was Claudio actually at that concert?
No.
I don't think he was. I think we had him fairly soon after lending his voice. But from this, we started having concerts in Steinway Hall at a time when we could still use their large showroom, and before we were moved into the little buco. But and the first recital that we hosted was given by a then very unknown Paul Lewis, who played all of the Poulenc improvisations for us, which was a program which I expect had not been given in London before or since, but it was very, very fine. And of course he went on to become a specialist in the classical period and with his studies with Alfred Brendel. But we got off to a flying start, and there have been many, many very good pianists and musicians who've come through the trust since. And many of them have gone on to make very reasonable careers in music, which is a business that is becoming ever more difficult to get ahead with. Right, I've got to stop talking because I'm now going to ask Noretta and John to say a little bit about themselves, because everybody knows who they are, but only the lucky ones who've known them personally, as I have for 49 years now.
Who they are, who?
Who you are.
Yeah.
What is your background?
Well, you see, between you have, if I'm not wrong, 186 years of history. So get cracking and tell us a little, not everything, but it would be nice, because people don't know where you came from necessarily. They don't know how you met. They don't know whether John actually liked music or he liked music for Noretta's sake.
Who is interested in this story?
Everybody.
No.
Yes, particularly Roy. Now, begin with La Mamma.
Beginning with La Mamma, who
And
wanted me to study violin so that he could play with me. She could play with me. And no, I didn't want to play the violin. And so this went on until I was all of 9, when my father said, "Let the poor girl play the piano." And that's how it all started. And I then did 3 years in one or something like that, and never looked back.
Who did you study with, though? Was that in Trento, or where was it you were studying? Where was it you were studying? Was that in Trento? Who was your first teacher? Was it your mother?
My first, no. Well, she was there, but I mean, my first teacher was somebody called Gennari, who had studied in Vienna. So she had...
In Vienna with who?
I don't remember. I mean,
But your
she
mother...
was-
I met this lady.
You
You
did?
did?
Yes,
Oh, wow.
I did, when she was about
110.
110 years old.
Did you?
I met her in
really?
Trento because Francesco Gianmarco played for her when he was a little boy. And so I had that privilege.
But your mother had studied with Agosti, I believe, yes?
My mother studied with Agosti.
But you
yes.
didn't go to Agosti to study afterwards.
Well, I was so very happy with Viduso that I didn't want to change teacher.
Had you played to Agosti, though? Had your mother taken you to Agosti to her teacher?
Yes,
You had
she
played to
did,
him?
but not for lessons.
No, yes.
And then Viduso, modest as he was always, said to me, "You know, Michelangelo is doing auditions to study with him in Bolzano. I prepare you for it, and then you come and tell me what happens."
What did you play to Michelangelo? Do you remember?
Possibly 101.
Oh, wow, the hardest one. Wow. Wow.
But, yeah.
And what did Michelangelo say? Did he took you on as one of his students, or
Michelangelo said, "When would you like to come next time?"
really?
So
And you told me that he chose your piano as well in Trento. I remember you saying that.
oh, that was after.
And he often used to come and visit you, but they knew because his red Ferrari was parked outside your
That's
car.
right. So the whole
Your
city
house.
knew that
Yes.
he was having that.
Amazing.
While this was going on, what were you up to, John?
Yes.
oh,
No.
I think my pedigree in music is about as colourful as the stamps in my passport,
Ah,
because I was engaged with economic development in Africa and in the Caribbean and parts of Latin America, and so I was lucky to get around a bit and to absorb some of the musical traditions of these varied places. So,
Did you play an instrument as well, John? Were you...
no, the only instrument that I ever played for more than 24 hours was a banjo, which my father, my natural father, brought back from his gold digger days in pre-1914 Nevada,
Goodness me.
Oh, and did your father find any gold?
No.
Was he lucky? No.
No,
Came back with a
he
banjo.
didn't find any gold. He was
Oh.
nearly executed for not finding it.
Oh,
But
really?
that's a different story. No.
But this was in Germany, yes. Your family was in
that
Germany.
was still in Germany,
Yes.
where to continue with my musical education.
But then you came to Whitby School.
Weekends were always full of Bach cantatas. So that was my baseline, so to speak, in music.
Would you like to tell us all how you came to meet Noretta?
Yes. That was because, in addition to working with developing countries, I was also promoting European political and economic integration. And at that time, 1960, I was engaged in a European committee with those aims, and that decided in the heat of an Italian summer to convene at a fairly romantic castle with an albeit artificial lake below. So one used to go and refresh oneself with long walks along the lakeside. And on one occasion, I was with the Austrian delegate on this committee, and he was a bit like Chris, ebullient, outgoing.
John, you're so sweet. Thank you. Nice to be appreciated. How lovely.
Yes.
Especially from you, John.
And we
Great
watched a white little dinghy drawing into the shore, and two very attractive young ladies came out of that, walked past us towards the castle, and being a proper Austrian, Otto Molden, that was his name, engaged them in a lively conversation. And that is how we met. And our host at the castle, because Otto volubly recorded the encounter to him, said, "Yes, you shall meet them, because I'm giving a ball for you later in the week." And that was that.
Was that Noretta and her sister? The two, you said there were two
Yes.
ladies in the boat, yes.
It was not actually that. It was that
Did you speak Italian
we
then,
were
John?
then asked operatic Italian.
Ah.
It was
Wonderful, yes, it certainly worked. Yes, how
Yeah.
wonderful, of course.
Yeah. So the ball took place, and we were invited to San Vito, the mountain retreat above the place, and I'm tempted to say again that was that, but it took me 2 years to interest this lady in my existence.
Was that because of her father? Her father wouldn't let her come down to Rome
No,
because he was worried about the daughter.
I was in America.
Oh, you're in America. I see. What were you doing in America, Noretta?
I beg your pardon.
What were you doing? I mean, you were teaching. I mean, that's what I mean. You were playing and teaching.
I was
Yes.
teaching and playing.
Teaching what, in a
I was
university?
very happy there in Hartford, Connecticut.
Yeah, Hart College,
Yes. Well,
where they
You
still.
met a couple of my
Yeah,
kids. You
I
met
did.
Joe-
I met
Joe Pay.
teachers and colleagues there too.
oh, you did? Oh, wow.
Yes,
Oh, my goodness.
where they were speaking of her many years later with great affection.
Many years later.
And how did you come to teach there, Noretta?
How did I come to, how did I, yes, because I met somebody called Arnold Franchetti, who was a composer, and he had a piano there, and he said, play me something. And I played some Scarlatti for him, or some Galuppi, or whatever it was. And he got all excited, and they said, but nobody play like you in this country. So we must do something about it. So he organized everything, and I was in tears because he did everything without asking me, sort of thing. And the next thing I knew is that I had to go to the Hart College in Hartford and audition, and I just went. And then they presented me with so much money, a contract with so much money that I couldn't very well.
Of course.
They made her an offer she couldn't refuse.
Yes.
But I cried all my tears because I was pushed into it.
Yes. Yes. But there was some link there with Papano, wasn't there? Some link. No,
None whatsoever.
that one of your teachers or something had some link with Papano many years later.
Papano studied with said Franchetti
Ah, exactly. Yes. Yes. Exactly. Yes.
in New Haven.
Yes. It's very interesting. So it's all linking up.
But
It's all coming together.
that
isn't
came
it?
out much later, of course.
Thanks to you and John, the whole world is becoming smaller, united around the Keyboard Trust.
Did you meet
Wonderful.
Franchetti, Leslie?
No, I don't think
No,
so.
no.
What got you back to Europe? When did you leave? It was his fault.
It was
Definitely my fault,
Well-
because I'd been working at it hard for 2
Assiduously.
years
Ah,
without a blind bit of notice. But happily, Noretta found a Christmas card as she was tidying up before going on holiday, and stuck in the back of the piano this card, for which I shall ever be grateful.
excellent.
Won't we all, John?
That's a great
Won't we
story.
all?
When did you first hear Noretta play, John?
You know, that is
You don't
a
remember.
question I
Such a big impression that you don't remember.
I have been, it should have been the moment of enlightenment, but no, I think it
remember
was
that.
in fact in San Vito. Yes, you may indeed have played on the day that we were invited up, the Gladioli Day.
What is Gladioli Day? It's the day of flower. Is it the flower that comes out?
That's right.
Yes.
When I was invited up to San Vito,
which is above Trento, isn't it?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Well, a lot
Above.
of
Long way
Place.
above,
Near to where
which is-
Michelangelo, in the end, ended up. You see, so it's all linking up continually. This link, isn't it? The music is linking everything up. Isn't it wonderful?
Yeah.
Tell the story of the gladioli.
Yes.
Yes, well, being a well brought up European, I acquired some flowers, and the most impressive ones I could find were gladioli. And I arrived with these.
Bunch of gladioli, and in San Vito there were millions of gladioli.
Portare acqua al mare, we say in Italian. Yes.
Castle, Newcastle, we say
to
here.
see, you know, this bunch of gladioli, and then there were hundreds of
Yes,
Well, it could have been worse. You could have taken a bunch of chrysanthemums.
But then eventually you did put the place in order with the apple trees, I believe. You had the apple trees. There were a lot of apple trees in the country place of Noretta's, yes?
yes.
Which you managed to get them organised, as you have everyone else, including us, into doing what they should do with the apples and not relying on other people to do it.
Yeah, to mix with liberally with prosecco and
Yes. What did you do about the
Yeah.
apples? You had them collect themselves and look after them themselves, I think. You created a little workplace there.
no, I wouldn't take credit for that, because currently 20,000 apple trees there,
Really?
and so it's almost a little industry,
Saving the world.
but run by my brother-in-law, and even more so my sister-in-law. And yes, that is what unites the family.
You helped them set this up, I believe. That.
No, I helped them with getting over that crucial problem of old-fashioned fruit growing, where at a particular moment in time, a lot of dealers appeared on the scene and offered you spurious prices
Yes.
for the harvest to be. And I vaguely mentioned cooperatives,
Yes.
which were totally unknown, of course, in that part of the world,
Yeah.
and at that altitude. But you now drive through this traditionally fruit-growing.
When do they harvest the
That's
apples?
it.
What period do they harvest them? Is it in
September, October.
oh, like lemons and things,
Because
the same
it's-
sort of period?
It's
Yeah.
800 meters, so it comes later than in Pianura.
Yes. No, we have lemons and oranges in November, December. You know, down in the south, more south in Italy. Yeah, that's yeah. But what about the prosecco then, John? Are we going to have a Keyboard Trust prosecco? Is that on the cards?
No,
No.
it's a thought, isn't it? Yes.
I didn't get the Keyboard Trust thought.
A
Are we going
prosecco named after the Keyboard Trust.
In your honour. I mean, you know.
Yes. No, it's a delightful summer drink.
It is, but it's a
Campari.
Yes.
pleasing prospect to have one named for the trust. Or one named after you two. I don't mind that. It's done.
Noretta and John.
Or Michelangelo even. Michelangelo Prosecco. Because it's in that area, isn't it? It's the Michelangelo Festival, which is, I think, quite near to you. Is it? Rabbi is quite near to where you are?
It is.
Yes.
It's about 40 minutes drive into a neighbouring valley.
Yes. Where many of the Keyboard Trust artists perform in the Michelangelo Festival.
They still
Yes.
do, yes.
Together with
Yes.
Sokolov and many other super famous pianists, I believe. Yeah.
Leslie, have you ever heard Sokolov?
Not live, no. I have heard him. He's marvellous.
Meraviglia.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
My
no,
favorite
he's
pianist.
very good.
They used to say the greatest pianist alive or dead.
No,
That's
Sokolov
that
does
was Horowitz.
wonderful things for them,
Yes.
opening this festival,
Yeah.
which extends through all the valleys up there, and is a remarkable creation.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
I go a long way to hear Sokolov. Let's say.
Yes.
did you know Sergio Fiorentino? Sergio Fiorentino.
No, I was friendly with Aldo Ciccolini,
Oh yeah.
who was the same. But Sergio Fiorentini, I never even met.
But they've released loads of recordings that he made in his later years, and they're all absolutely extraordinary.
Yeah.
We used to buy them for 50
Good, are they
pence.
good?
Sorry?
Are they good?
Oh, extremely good.
Really?
And Ciccolini, I think they've re-released his Saint-Saëns concertos, and they've re-released his recordings of Rossini.
Voilà.
And he was the first and best to record those.
Ciccolini studied when I was studying in Paris, so we became quite friendly with Marguerite Longs. He was studying, who was absolutely adored him, and she called him Monaldo. He loved him.
Because you studied in Paris as well with Marguerite Long.
I studied 1 year in Paris, and with Yvonne Lefebvre.
Yvonne Lefebvre.
And I was going because Margaret Long had a master class every Wednesday, so I would.
Did you
love
play
to
for
go.
her? Did you ever play in her
No,
master
I
class?
didn't play. No. But I made a lot of friends.
Is that where you met Joaquin Achúcarro?
No, as a matter of fact.
Where did you meet him?
Why did we meet Joaquin? No, he wasn't there then.
Because you've been friends forever.
Terrible,
I-
but I do not remember.
I know you've known him for 60 years, but
Yeah.
I think he studied with Agosti, didn't he? He studied with
I was,
Masterclass in
Achúcarro?
Siena.
Not that I know of.
no, but he had some connection with him, because that's why they asked Achúcarro to take over Agosti's course.
In Siena, something
the
something
Academic
to do with
Gianna.
Siena, yes.
Because Agosti took it over from Casella, and I think Achúcarro took it over from Agosti. I think that
And
was
after,
the lineage.
and after that, it was downhill all the way. Well, you know, that course used to run for 7 weeks. I don't know how Agosti managed to do that.
Yes.
And it's got down to 2 now.
Yes. Oh, Lydia would be
And
very
it's,
pleased about that.
And it's done by Michele Campanella, and it's of not much interest,
Yes, yes.
francamente.
Changed school.
Elena, you are the only one of this assembly who has ever played for the Keyboard Trust.
Oh, that's not quite correct.
Well, I know. I played before it existed.
Okay, that
That's
doesn't
right.
count then.
That's right.
And I played with it, but I'm not for it.
That's very true. You are.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
gone through the ranks, as they say.
Where did you play? Did you go on the various tours? Have you done the things that you're now organising? Did you
Yes.
actually do them?
Mostly, yes.
And was it a great help to you? I mean, as John set up the Keyboard Trust with Noretta to try and help young musicians in that difficult period, not only of finishing their studies and then realising what the world is about, about catching planes and trains and hotels where there's no water and all that sort of thing. Did you find that particularly useful?
Absolutely, yes, exactly. It showed what a touring life is all about.
These are formative experiences.
Yes, truly. And while, of course, being beautifully cared for, because everything was so well organized and so in such a caring way, I still remember when we were in Berlin and I didn't feel very well, and I had a nice long sleep, and in the morning I opened the door and there was a tray with breakfast left for me by Noretta, very kindly. And, you know, just little things like that. You always felt very cared for. And, of course, when we went together traveling, like in Italy, in between the halves of the concert, between the concerts, you always get so much support and direction for the next performance, which just made all the difference. Because you didn't feel on your own, you felt very much, you know, loved and supported. And that's something that young musicians don't really feel enough of, I think, because it can be such sort of a shark's world out there to try and prove yourself with every performance. Whereas with the Keyboard Trust, you felt that your back was covered, and you know you were nurtured. The talent was nurtured rather than having to jump through hoops. And
Yes, you're not on your own.
Exactly,
Basically.
exactly.
You don't feel on your own.
It's also because you've got an audience that really wants to hear you.
That's right.
And that
It's
really
the
want to
whole-
encourage you.
The whole set. The whole
And
set was...
that, you know, it's not like the terrible business of having to hire a hall and or to put yourself on if you didn't win the competition. And you know, every competition only has one winner.
Exactly.
And that means there's a whole lot of other people for whom apart from the next competition, don't have anything much to look forward to. And I don't know how they do. Well, of course, these days everybody stays in education until they're about 50, hoping for a breakthrough somewhere. But it's what I think we'd all like to hear is how you came to London. What got you here?
My man, John, brought me to London.
Right.
But you lived in
We got
Milan.
married.
You lived in Milan beforehand as well.
We met in San Vito.
Yes.
You know, didn't you tell the story before?
Yes.
We're up to speed as far as San Vito, but we don't know where you went after that.
And then you went to America, and then you worked for 2 years very hard to try and
Yes,
get her
you
back.
have a nice story to tell, that you went through all the people coming from New York till you found me, because you were at the airport.
Ah, yes.
That's rather
Oh,
a
I've
sweet
heard that story.
Yeah.
When you came out and he was there with a huge bunch of
And
flowers.
there was John also. I couldn't believe it, because I certainly didn't write to him that I was taking that plane. But tell the story how you did it.
You've just told
I
it.
just said,
How did you know which plane it was, John?
I assumed it was Alitalia
very clever, eh? Indeed.
in those days.
In those
was,
days, quite.
a reputable
Yes.
airline, and of course nurtured by
That's right.
the international connection. So, yes, and in sort of pre-meticulous security days, it was easy to make a phone call and say, have you got so-and-so on your passenger list?
Yes.
And
It was possible.
You wouldn't try doing that now, would you? People would be coming round to see what manner of bomb you were.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's terrific. I
That
didn't
was
know that.
all of, what, 60 years ago? 60. Not
Gosh,
60.
yeah,
that's quite
Well,
an
there you are, and
anniversary.
you're still on speaking terms.
most of the time.
Do you ever get get opposing reactions to a performance?
What reaction?
Opposing reactions, like you love someone and John really
No.
doesn't. How is that possible?
No.
I'm
Johnny.
good at swallowing.
John has a very good set of music, and therefore we agree always. Vero?
Hello.
Well, from
Said
what
he dutifully.
What?
QE.
Well, from what I've seen you at concerts, you always have exactly the same reaction to performance and the way you go about talking to the artist.
I would say 99 times out of 100,
Yeah.
the answer is yes. That's the way it should be anyway, shouldn't it?
Yes, I've often seen you in the interval leaving the concert hall together.
Oh, no, Noretta
Or even
didn't
sooner.
hear a symphony for about 30 years. Because if the piano concerto was in the first half,
Well, we did discuss the Bruckner Symphony some time ago. You told us off, Leslie.
no, you were very naughty with that.
You were saying nasty things about Bruckner. You told us off quite
You
rightly.
mustn't say nasty
No.
things about Bruckner. Bruckner was a great and noble man. But that's not what we're here to talk about. Noretta, tell us about all your
Cakes.
cookery, dinner parties, and Elena can ask you this question.
Yes, so we wanted to know, we talked a lot about music so far, but we wanted to know if there was a hobby or anything you liked doing outside music, like doing individually or together.
I like skiing more than
Fantastic.
cooking.
Oh, wow.
And you used to like driving.
Oh yes, thank you. Yes, of course.
Because Noretta drove at about the same speed as Ayrton Senna, and and
You remember what they call me in Italy? Fangina.
yes,
They still call me to this day.
Well, I remember being in a car with Noretta and with Enrique Arias and his wife, hurtling down the Val di Nol. This is from Cles coming back to Trento, and this is a narrow road with lots of bends.
Oh my
You've
God.
got no possibility of knowing whether anything's coming. And there was one of those very useful handles to hang on to, but Enrique in the back seat was he was terrified. It was very funny.
And all that because my darling father, who loved me so much, when I was 15, he presented me with a car. And therefore I started driving very, very early indeed.
Mm-hmm.
First up and down San Vito, and then eventually.
Did you have to pass your test in that period? Was there a driving test that you had to do in that period?
I had to. I did 3 driving tests.
Oh, you did?
One.
You were that bad?
In
Or you were that good?
No. It's the one who said, "What would you do if you didn't have your hands to speak with?" When he asked me the question. Then I had to do one in America, and then when I married John, I had to do one here.
Oh, really? And you passed them, each one the first time?
Natürlich.
Thanks.
Yes. Oh, wow, congratulations.
What a question.
Well,
You tell
it's a
him.
rarity. It's a rarity. I'm very impressed. Absolutely. And what about the Conci cookbook? Are we going to have a Noretta Conci cookbook with all your favourite recipes and all your wonderful cakes?
I forgot whose idea it was, but I never did anything about it.
But
I still have the foreword, the introduction to it.
Aha.
But short of actual recipes,
You really need
I have a
quite a
few.
lot of stuff if you want to write a book.
I remember you telling me about Lauren Mazel. He loved the cakes you made. You had a special cake for Lauren Mazel, a special one for Papano.
Yes, and one for Claudia.
Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, that's all limited, you know. In order to write a book, you must have
What did you make for Michelangelo? What sort of cake did he like?
No, he didn't.
Or you didn't get onto
He
that?
didn't eat any sweets anyway.
No.
No. But as I said, to write a book, you need a lot of good recipes, not just a few.
Well, no, actually, it's quality rather than quantity that counts, which is what the Keyboard Trust has always taught us. So I think that's too easy an escape. I think we really do need to see this book.
Well, we could possibly have a page on the Keyboard Trust website dedicated to Noretta's cakes. And
that would be
anybody
wonderful.
who wishes could perhaps go there and learn from you how to cook most delicious cakes that once upon a time Papano and Bellini and all the others have eaten.
If it is a short one.
Alberto Portuguese used to do that on the radio.
Oh.
He used to do Chopin and recipes at the same time.
Do
Do you remember that? He became so famous doing it, famous overnight. Yes.
Terrible in both things. He did it professionally,
No, did you?
Yes. He had a restaurant with Marta Argerich called
Yes.
Rhapsody,
Yes.
just round the corner from him.
I know, we didn't go there. But
They say it's Kensington, but it's really Shepherd's Bush. but it was there. And he created it with
North
Martha
Kensington.
Argerich's brother. She wanted him to take up the... So they did it together.
I didn't know that.
Yes, and Cherkassky often used to go there.
Yeah.
It was really... And then something happened that they met some people that weren't quite as they should be, and I think the whole thing sort of collapsed. But if you go to Alberto's home, and you will never forget what you eat there.
No, as I said, I remember he did it professionally.
Yes,
He
yes.
was hired by Bon, per esempio.
Just one quick one more. Do you still have any students? One.
1.5. I have my Sasha, whom I love, Sasha
Right.
Grignuk, and he comes faithfully every Friday, and we work, and I like it
Well, he's very good.
very much.
Very nice person
I
to work
hope
with as well.
he will do something. It's so difficult now. There are so many kids playing well,
Yes, it
He
is.
plays wonderfully. Very
and
well.
unfortunately he's too old to go to a competition and win it. And,
Even if he
He's
won
done a
it,
bit of that.
that's not
even if
that's
he won,
not the
but I
road
mean, it would
to a
help,
career.
But I mean, he can't.
Yes, it's a road to having more
But it's
concerts,
very-
but hopefully,
He's doing very well.
yes.
Well, I'm glad. Very good.
I think.
Well, unless you want to say anything else, we don't really need a benediction and a blessing.
Thank you.
It's been
Thank you
lovely talking to you
Thank you
both
for coming.
and hearing your
It's,
stories, and we could probably make another 10 programs before getting to the end of all the stories you've got to tell.
To come all the way.
Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You made the day.